Now when people talk about editing, a lot of them like to talk about how fast you can edit or if you can do a quad edit. But in real games, what really matters is making smart edits. Let's say you're in game and you have your opponent boxed. All they have to focus on is hitting their shot because they're boxed, right? There's really nothing else they can do. So you as the power player, you have to make smart edits and you have to do them fast or else they're going to start pressuring you. So in this video, I'll go over some strategies that will help you make better and smarter edits. Alright, starting off with the first tip, when confirming an edit, make sure you don't leave yourself exposed to the enemy. I know this sounds like a very basic tip, but even I still make the mistake of making open edits. So when you're going for an edit, try to set up for a right hand peek or crouch before you confirm the edit. This gives you enough time to get your shotgun ready, because most of the time your opponent will have their shotgun ready and they'll be able to shoot you as soon as you confirm the edit if you're not protected. Also, in some cases, it actually might be more important for you to go for piece control instead of going for the shot first. This will provide you with a big advantage and give you plenty of more options. A good way to make protected edits a habit is to run through a practice course. I have a lot on my channel if you want to check them out, by the way. And instead of trying to complete it fast, take your time, and every time you run into an enemy, make sure to try a protected edit. And if you do this just for 10 minutes every day, without trying to get hit throughout the entire course, it will build up that habit of making protected edits. The only time you don't really need to think about making protected edits is if the opponent is not looking in your direction, or if you have a pretty big health advantage and you know he's one shot, then in that case you can actually go for an open edit. Next tip is if you have piece control on the enemy, make sure to take advantage of those other builds you control. You don't need to just attack from one side. I see a lot of people doing this. Instead, make sure to actually use those other builds you control, because attacking from multiple sides will build up pressure on the opponent and also give you a lot more options to get a shot on them. Alright, so for example, let's say I got this pyramid and these two walls before this guy boxed up, and let's say he's standing right about here. What I could do in this situation is actually do an edit right here, put a stair inside, and then quickly run over here and do a right hand peek and shoot him. So instead of just trying to outplay your opponent with one wall edit, try to do both walls and confuse your enemy. And another benefit of having these two walls is that you're actually in a pretty hard spot for him to get piece control on you, because if you were standing right here, he can just simply, place a cone and walls around you as soon as you open the edit. But if you're standing right here, it's much more difficult, you're much more protected, and you also have a right hand peek on this one. So positioning is pretty important when you're making smart edits. Now next, I have a pretty small bonus tip because it won't really happen too often in games, but when it does happen, let's say for example, and when they do this edit, a lot of people kind of tend to run to this corner right here. So instead of trying to peek from here, you can actually reset this and flip it around into the bottom right corner, and now you can shoot his feet. So I actually have it set up right here. You can actually shoot his feet right here for an easy shot, and the opponent can really only see your toes from this angle, so they'll only be able to do very small damage. And even from this angle, you can still do about 80 damage, it seems like, with attack, so that's really good. Now another pretty situational one is actually phasing through your stairs. So a lot of people know that you can phase through the stair, like this, very basic stuff, but a lot of people don't expect you to do that if they're attacking from the top. So let's say your opponent is attacking from the top here, they really wouldn't expect you to do a stair phase. So if you have a stair in your box, you can actually just flip it around right here and you can go for a shot. Now from their perspective, they'll really only be able to see the very top of your head, and even then it's going to be very hard for them to tell where you're at, because you can see right here, you can actually phase all the way out here, like barely any of my head is even peeking at this point. And then make sure as soon as you go for the shot to actually crouch so you don't take any damage. Now this next tip is pretty important, is actually getting used to instantly resetting your edit after going for a shot. This is very easy on keyboard because you can just reset instantly with scroll wheel reset, but if you're on controller, it is going to take a little bit of practice of getting the hang of this, and it won't be quite as fast as scroll wheel reset, but if you can get as fast as you can on this, then it'll be really crucial. And I know a lot of you guys who watch my channel are controller players, so make sure you start making this a habit if you haven't already. Now another thing to keep in mind is when you actually reset your edit, your opponent will probably like break your build because you reset the edit. So as soon as they break your build, you want to have your wall out. So it will go something like this. You'll edit, shoot, reset, they'll shoot their wall, and then you take the wall back. Alright, now just a quick recap over all those tips. Number 1, make sure you don't leave yourself exposed to the enemy. Make sure you're making protected edits, as well as having a right hand peek. When you gain piece control on the enemy, make sure you take advantage of those other builds, not just the one side you attack from. Create edits where you can shoot the opponent but they can't shoot you back. Now this is very situational, but when it does happen, make sure to take advantage of that as well. And like we just talked about, make sure to instantly reset your edit after going for a shot. So those are the 4 main tips I mentioned in this video. Now the only time you don't really need to think about an edit is when the opponent is not looking in your direction, or if you already have a big health advantage and you know he's one shot. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this short tip video. Let me know if I should do more of these, and feel free to give me some video ideas in the comments below. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one.